Okay, and finally, the pelvic floor. So for this sequence, we're gonna go through a series of exercises. The first one being pretty simple and just trying to get you to feel what's going on. And then as we progress, it'll get a little more nuanced and maybe even a little more intense. So the pelvic floor is the bottom of the core Coke can analogy of holding everything, your guts and your organs and everything together. So it's the bottom here. It goes from your tailbone all the way to the pubic bone and across basically to where your thighs start. So let's get in the same position that we've been in this whole time. We're gonna be on your back, knees bent, and the first one is just contracting and relaxing. So we've already contracted the TA in the front. We've already contracted the adductors on the inside, your butt cheeks. So now it's time to do more in the middle of the pelvic floor area itself. So all we're gonna do is lay here and think about doing one of those Kegel exercises. So you're gonna pull up on the pelvic floor, hold it for a second, and relax. So it kind of, if you're looking, obviously you can't see my own pelvic floor contracting, but it's kind of like this motion in my hands. You're pulling up, holding it for a second, and relax. If you feel like your butt cheeks are kind of clenching, like you just did in the glute set, then the way that you can do a relaxation there is by actually doing a couple bridges just to get those a little bit more tired, and they've contracted, they're chilling when we go to do the pelvic floor again. So do a couple of those, and now think about just the pelvic floor again, raising up, holding it for a second there, and relaxing. So we're gonna do these contractions for a couple minutes, just contracting and relaxing. You don't have to hold it too long. You don't have to think about going slowly or anything. Just pull it and relax. The next one's called an elevator. So we're gonna think of the pelvic floor as there's like an elevator in here, right? So when you pull the pelvic floor up, like we just did in the contract, relax exercise, the elevator is going to start coming up to the penthouse, which can be your head, looking out the windows. And then when we relax the pelvic floor, it's going to come down, back to where we started. And then if you relax even further or even push down a little bit, it can go into the basement floor, that elevator. And then when you relax completely, it's just right in neutral in the ground floor. So we're going to do this elevator exercise. Again, pulling up. This time you're going to pull a little more slowly, and just imagine the elevator coming up to your head as you're pulling up, and then as you're relaxing down, don't just let it go. That's a very dangerous elevator ride. You want to let it go slowly, and it's going to come back down to the hip area, and then relax even further, let it come into the basement, and then come back to neutral, back in the pelvis. And you're gonna do this for 2 minutes, just visualizing the elevator going up and down. It's really gonna help with that control. Okay, this one's called a quick flick. So it's kind of like it sounds. You're gonna perform your pelvic floor contraction quickly and then let go. So we're gonna try and do this as quickly as possible for 10 seconds. So if you have a watch, you can set a timer or keep an eye on it or whatever you want, set your phone. But you're gonna set it for 10 seconds, and we're gonna do a quick contraction and relaxation as many times as you can in the 10 seconds. And take note of if it starts to get a little tired towards the end, or if it starts to become more difficult and we start to squeeze our butt cheeks a lot to try and get it to fire really quick. So just keep in mind what happens and take note of that, because we'll be doing this activation going forward and we'll compare between now and then. So again, quick flick, 10 seconds, see how many you get, take note, and we'll come back to this later. And the final one for this sequence is a TA activation plus that elevator exercise. So we're combining two of them now to see how well we can control the core and the pelvic floor kind of at the same time. If you are not ready for this yet, don't worry, you can come back to it later, but let's just try it out and see what happens. So you can put your hands on your hip bones like we did for the TA, a little bit to the inside. You're gonna pull your belly button to your spine like you're bracing. Once you feel that contraction in your core, then we're gonna take the elevator and we're gonna lift it all the way up to the top floor like we did before, and then let it it come back down. This is the tough part, to let it come back down while maintaining this contraction. It's easy to just kind of let everything relax, but try your best to keep that belly button towards the spine as you slowly relax the pelvic floor, letting the elevator go back down. And then once it's back down safely on the ground floor, you can relax the TA contraction as well. And that's 1 rep. So we're gonna do this for 2 minutes as well. Same thing, contract your TA right under your fingertips here, and then you're gonna bring the elevator up slowly, let it come back down safely, and then relax your core.